Back to season 4. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna do it anyways. One of our longtime great friends, Gabe, has let us use his place, Mocha Hookah right here, to be our venue for this podcast. I'm excited. It's been a while. You guys know I've been out. I've been busy creating a whole life, figuring things out with newborn stuff. But we're not here for me. We're here for the guy to my right. And the guy to my right is Frank the Tank. Frank, let's get a little about yourself. Come on, my guy. Like,
what's up, everybody? How are we doing?
What's up, man? I haven't seen you in
probably like 2 years.
Like
amount of time.
Since my hair was short.
Yeah.
I think before my kid was born too, I think.
And before I had grays.
Yeah, oh my Lanta. I feel like I've always had grays. So, I can't get away from that.
I felt like, when I was 9, I felt like an old man already. I was already done, and I was like, fucking ended already.
Honestly, I think it was when I was like probably 17 maybe that I started to get like gray hair, give or take.
I was, at 9 years old, I was like, physically, I'm 9, mentally, I'm already fucking in the casket. Get me out of here.
I actually love the fact that I'm 28, but I still feel like a 12-year-old. I think that's how the way you're supposed to.
You should be. You should be
100%.
60 years old and feel like you're 6.
Of course. Maybe 6.5 at 60. But okay, so I want to ask you, because I don't really know, where'd Frank the Tank come from?
Well, I was born right here in Fresno.
Okay.
Been here my whole life, you know.
But where did this nickname come from? You got Frank the Tank that I've known you from prior to like, so I've seen your face around in my life, maybe as far back as like 2010 maybe. And like, when I knew of you, it was more of like, you know, who is this legend, right? Because you were a big part, for the most part, in high school with wrestling, right?
No, I was just, so in high school, I was kind of like, I tried to be like cool with everybody. I wasn't like, you know, don't get me wrong, I fucked with a lot of people, and you know, I made a lot of mistakes in high school and around that time that I greatly regret now that I'm more mature and I've grown. But as much as I could have those regrets, I could also look at it as I can still let it hold me back, or can I grow from this?
I was gonna say, yeah, because I feel like in high school, you shouldn't put so much pressure on yourself. I feel like, I don't know, I didn't have that much pressure on me from my family and stuff like that. But like, I feel like school academics and other things. Huh? Oh yeah, that's Gabe. If you guys didn't know, Gabe's been kind enough to let us use his beautiful place, and he just likes to let it be known. Don't worry, I'm gonna get him on the camera, but I'll probably get him at my spot. And I mean, I don't know, we might do part 2 here, but oh yeah, hey, if we get more people coming through, we might. And if Frank has to disappear to work, Frank's gotta disappear to work. It is what it is. But yeah,
hey,
bro, I feel like
as a man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I feel like in high school, it teaches you to have a good work ethic. If you can learn to have a good work ethic and then just kind of have fun.
But like, my whole thing with schooling is, I feel like it became less about actually teaching and more about like, it became less teaching and more telling, in a sense where like,
oh yeah, for sure, huh? It does feel like a thing.
It's like, I remember growing up.
That's why you hate authority.
I remember growing up when I used to, you know, my teachers used to make you want to learn. And as you get older, you start realizing. So like, it wasn't until after I got out of high school and, you know, did my first year of college, I realized, well, I didn't really have the best, like, kind of opportunity to go for school. It was kind of like a sticky situation for that.
I'm sorry.
But
hey, let me hit that while you talk.
So my thing was, after I unfortunately had to drop out and get a job.
Gotta get a J-O-B if you wanna be with me. Sorry.
So-
You said you got a job?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Well, growing up, I always worked in my family's restaurant. We had an Italian fine dining restaurant here in Fresno.
Yeah.
And-
What? Really?
Yeah, we had it was a Venezia Italian restaurant. I don't most people here would not know what that is. In fact, I think everybody here doesn't know what that is. But
Shouts out if you do though.
props, major props.
Straight up.
But yeah, so I actually learned how to cook and do everything restaurant related, growing through the whole. Been in the restaurant industry my entire life. After that, the restaurant unfortunately closed down when the economy back in 2008, 2009, 2010 era was like we hit that recession really bad, and
Yeah.
a lot of things were uncertain then.
I still don't understand what, how, when, where. Eventually, I'll get on that train. But yeah, that really did tank a lot of people, and then people are worried nowadays too about
Yeah, it's
possibilities of coming up
It's-
again.
things are getting kind of crazy, but like. I've worked there from 9. It wasn't like officially working there on the clock schedule. Like, I would always go with my mom, get produce. They would have me wash dishes. Little things. As I got older, then I would start doing other things like busting tables, helping, and then eventually I left that and got a little job at a gas station. I just wanted to get a feel for something else for a little bit, and did that for about 2 years when I actually got assaulted by my manager. Funny story about that.
Okay, so we got working in the family's restaurant for a while. That's a lot of shit because honestly, I feel like you need to work in a restaurant to be able to understand. Also, like, accept food and then understand too, like, how much shit we waste. What the hell? And then moving, it was Chevron, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I think I remember you like coming up to like West in that Chevron uniform, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And that was at the time when I was like, "Okay, this is the legend." So you got assaulted.
So, my boss was not really experienced at like
Anything? No.
well, besides being a pervert, yeah, but
Got-
like my boss wasn't good at like blue collar shit. Like he didn't know how to repair a toilet or shit. But when I was growing up, my dad was born in '38, bro. I was adopted, mind you. I was adopted. My mom was like 49 when I was adopted, so they were older. But my dad, the moment I was able to pick up a hammer, my dad taught me how to use tools. He taught me how to use a hammer, nail, drill. He even made me on my own. I was a little infant, and he made me my own custom built tool belt that he made out of one of his old tool belts that he didn't use anymore.
Damn, I wish I was that handy. I need to be that more handy.
And my dad really was my savior, man.
Shouts out to the dads there,
But
helping your sons, even those that aren't your son, like my stepdad.
so I gotta tell you something about my dad though. That man was a fucking monster. Like, respectfully. Like, in the sense that we use the term now.
Yeah.
That dude's a savage. Let me tell you something about that dude. That dude, he unfortunately, he died in our house when I was 9. That was very,
That's hard.
that was horrid, especially since he was
Not common.
literally the man who saved my life. And what I mean by that, when I was 18 months old, I actually was struck by a car in a ghetto ass motel parking lot in downtown, and my dad was actually the one that picked me up off the ground and took me to the hospital. My dad and my mom. So
It's good to have you here today.
my dad was in his late 60s when he passed away, but before he passed away, that man survived 3 heart attacks while having lung disease. That man just he wanted as much time with the family as
Yeah,
he
that's
could.
awesome. That guy was fighting. He's like, no, you ain't gonna take me.
How?
You ain't gonna take me.
And we're not talking like a couple years apart. We're talking like months apart.
Wow. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, I've only ever seen like the one time with Bob and his circumstance of how he had his mini strokes and then how he just actually recently had one. And having that forgetfulness, or having to learn to walk
Yeah.
again, or just different things. I can only imagine how difficult, not only for like that person to want to fight, stay in the battle, and then on top of that, family to be able to help.
Yeah.
I haven't had it really any, knock on wood, man. I haven't had like crazy, like what would be called like traumatic things like happen like in my life, or like in front of me for the most part. I feel as though.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing a lot of people like to do nowadays. They like to compare their struggles to others and make them feel bad for what they view as. But you can't do that to people, because the thing is what you think is not that bad could be the most detrimental thing to another person. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know their walk of life. That's what my dad, he taught me, son, when you get to be, an adult, the best thing you could do, if you can't do much for people, the very least you could do is show respect and be a man of your word.
That's real. I've been trying to on those two things. I think the man of the word, or a man of your word, is like one of the biggest things, because like integrity, like
Yeah.
for me, I guess it would be like, if you say you're gonna do something, like do it, right?
But
so,
like, don't forget to give yourself a pat in the back, because at the end of the day, you look how it beats you. Look how it beats you up. That to say that you're trying. That means you're making a legitimate effort. And at the end of the day, if people can't appreciate a legitimate effort being made, then maybe they aren't the people to be around.
yeah, you hear that, guys? I don't want to be around you guys anymore. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Okay, so what did he do?
My dad was in construction and all kinds of stuff. I really, I was too young to know all the things that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
But, my mom would always tell me, he was in construction for a long time. And then when it was time he got really hurt one day, I guess at a construction site, a forklift dropped its pallet load and it like fell on top of him. And luckily he had his hard hat, otherwise his head would have been impaled.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, hard hats are crazy, but they've been saving lives. My dumb ass working in the field one time was just trying to drive it. Yeah. Was just trying to drive like a tea stake in the ground, and then going too hard, hit it, and then boom, just hit myself on the head. But I had the hard hat on. It's funny too, because my stepdad just watched me going. That's why that's there. And then your dumb ass.
And then you think that one thing that looks so stupid isn't so stupid when that one thing saved your life.
Yeah, no, I definitely much appreciate that thing. I still have my hard hat. It's somewhere over yonder. Maybe I don't. Jeez, I gotta get it.
Oh, I keep mine in my ass.
Small hard hat.
Just kidding.
It's a big ass.
Prison pocket. But anyways, so
I'm gonna steal this now.
After my dad retired from doing that because he wasn't capable of doing it anymore.
Are these guys good?
My mom and dad decided to get into foster care. My mom used to be a restaurant hostess for a long time, and she, they got into foster care, and through them, they actually found forever homes for over 70 kids.
Dang. I can't do that. I wish I could. I don't got it.
It wasn't like all at one time, obviously.
I barely
it was
have
a
the
course
patience for my
history.
child. But yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, but, I was very fortunate to be raised by them because, they were married for 30 years before my dad died. They would have still been married.
Yeah, that's also,
but,
that's also tough.
They really taught me, like, they love you through not just words, but through actions.
I think that's huge. I think affirmations are something that probably do get looked over. I feel as though, like, growing up, my family did more action items than like affirmations. Mm-hmm. So like for me, affirmations are like, okay, I did a good job. Like, what is you telling me I did a good job matter? But like, for showing something, like, I don't know, not providing like something like as a gift, but like, I don't know. They never say good job. So like, I don't know, the one time maybe that they do say good job, it makes me feel better, I guess. I don't know.
I think a lot of times, a lot of people, as they get older and they start thinking back at different moments when they've experienced it, they start looking, like for me, I might have noticed the little things when I was younger, but as I got older and I remember these things, I'm like, fuck. And then sometimes you realize, damn, this person loved the shit out of me, but they just were only able to show them in a certain way.
Huge. I think that's huge. I think I still have that battle like nowadays, kind of like with my mom and stuff, and then I have that battle too with, my kid, or even with just people, I guess, nowadays. But I feel like a battle between how to show love, how to accept love is something that like we should learn. Huge. And understand yourself, like how it is that you can accept love. You can provide love for people, and sometimes it's not always the same shit. Sometimes it's not always like, can I, do something for you? And some people are like, just tell me it's gonna be okay. Just tell me it's gonna be okay.
But also, I like what you said. I think would be really good for a lot of people to do is if you take a step back and you think. Just remember, every incident where there was adversity or an altercation with another individual, it's not always one-sided. Maybe if you can find yourself seeing yourself get down to like a certain thought process, find little things that I learned a long time ago. When. What's up, brother? What's up, bro?
How are you?
I'm good, brother.
You remember me?
Yeah, yeah, brother. Come on, of course.
Wow.
Oh.
My brother is in drag tonight. Good.
So, Frank is the star of this place. So if he does get dragged away or in mid conversations, it will happen.
The thing is, as I got older, I learned to respect everyone's walk of life, and I try my best. I'm not perfect. I still, judge people. But, like, a lot of times, it's not for what people think. Like,
I feel that. I feel like there's a fine line too, because then there's also the part of like people pleasing and stuff like that. Because I feel like it could definitely fall into the realm of people pleasing sometimes when you're like, I want to make sure that like I got, like good vibes with everyone, but then also like be sure not to lose yourself too.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like that's a tough part.
The thing is everybody on Earth should strive to be nicer to each other, but also understand you should always do your best to please other people in appropriate ways, in appropriate manners for society to be healthy.
So what is the inappropriate thing that happened to you?
Well, I mean, it can be in various forms. Like you could be.
So how did you get assaulted?
Did they touch me in my no, please.
That's as much as we can talk about it, guys. I'm sorry.
But anyways, the thing is when how I carry myself is I will show you respect innately. I will be kind. I will be cordial, upfront, until you have made me feel disrespected. But don't think. I'm too mature for animalistic shit. Like, I'm not gonna fight someone because they looked at me funny. That's
Not
stupid.
anymore.
Not anymore.
That's what we did in high school.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
we're grown
okay,
now.
because you have to prove yourself in high school, so no one kicks the shit out of you.
No, 100%. But I feel like that was like a necessary thing for some people.
Yeah.
But also try to understand that it's just, mental health in America. We don't like a lot of things. A lot of the issues is a lot of people are too afraid to go get professional help because of the stigma. So they like to do their research on their symptoms, but the problem with doing that is like mental conditions, like physical conditions, almost every illness share exactly the same symptoms. Very similar symptoms. So you could think you could do a Google search like most people do and think you're bipolar, and now all of a sudden you're telling everybody, oh, I got bipolar, or or even more dangerous, you're telling other people, oh, you're I hear it all the time, bro. You know how many times? Oh, I got anxiety. I can't do this right now.
Okay, the anxiety thing, 100%. That's one that I'm like, I definitely get people always like, yeah, I have anxiety about a situation.
But people nowadays they think that doing your own research is going to be solidified to diagnose themselves. It is not advisable or even feasible to try to self-diagnose yourself. One, it's not going to do anything for you. You can't. Okay? Let's assume by the off chance, and yes, it is the off chance that you magically, automatically, correctly diagnose yourself. Okay? Let's say you need an antibiotic. You can't go to the pharmacy, but I need this.
Not unless it's over the counter, yeah. You gotta literally be like.
The thing is like. The bottom line is, if you have a problem, don't hide it, because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Face your shit, guys. Face your shit. I don't. I need to more often. I swear I will. I face my shit more. All right, so what happened after Chevron? What happened next?
I actually got a job at the San Joaquin Country Club. Yes, sir.
And how was that?
That was fucking awesome, dog. The kitchen crew, you know, anybody who's ever worked in the kitchen, you and I both know, I'm telling you right now, every kitchen is the exact same almost everywhere. Everyone behind there is a fucking degenerate. Unless you're on television. Then you're a saint. But
no fucking way, because Gordon Ramsay is the biggest degenerate of all out there, you know. Yelling at people left and right.
Dog, he's gonna be in the chat saying idiot sandwich. You're an idiot. I want to bring a fact back to actually. I like how we have a very interracial group that comes here, all walks of life. And I always constantly hear, oh, you're white, you don't know how to season food. I'm like, no, that's the British. I'm Sicilian Italian.
Brits don't know how to season this
What,
shit, man.
but like, if you look at it historically, the Brits controlled two-thirds of the whole planet for spices and trade, and they didn't use a single fucking one.
Shepherd's pie, man, they used them all. Every single one of them, baby.
And sometimes I put a little extra protein in there.
You don't even know what it is. Could be cat dog.
But yeah, so most of my employment career history was based around restaurants. And in fact, one of my goals when I'm able to feasibly do it is open a food truck.
Let's do that. I love that. I will be there. I will eat there. I will send people there. I will love to work there for a day. Only a day, though.
Don't worry, I'll fire you after today, so it's only one day.
Yeah, because I know it's going to get hectic and busy, and I'm only going to be able to put out for one day. Only a 2-hour shift, too. Nothing crazy.
But I have a backup also in construction, in physical labor, so if I need to, I could do probably...
Ooh, that's a good one.
That reminds me. Yeah, like I said, I have a background in general contracting with apprenticing under one for quite some time. If the food industry keeps going the way it does, I might pull that on hold and pursue a temporary career in home inspecting. And if you think about it, with all the people we know in real estate.
Yeah, I would definitely double back that one a lot, just because I know, yeah, my direct involvement with my family and real estate, that could be an easy alley that we could shove you into.
You can start a business.
You had me at hello.
Okay, to be honest, I thought I had you at the tip, but whatever.
Sir, yes, sir. Okay, that's good. I like that. I love to build on that. That's interesting. That will definitely help in the future, especially as goals that we see to determine. Currently, we are at Mocha Hookah right now. Starting to get a little bit busier. We'll see if it affects the audio or not. But worst case scenario, you'll just hear everyone else's voices around us. You guys will still watch. I know. It's because of the vibes, 100%. But midway through this episode with Frank, I'm enjoying every minute of it. I'm enjoying being in a different environment, people being around us, it being very different than what we're used to in front of like a camera in a studio setup the way that I have.
Which is nice too, because a lot of times when you're watching people and their content, they can get very static and very like, just very like plain, mundane, like kind of boring. It's like you originally like it, then it's just like,
You know, I do my best to try to keep conversations rolling around, and especially during like someone like you, how we haven't talked in a while, and we have definitely a lot to talk about, catch up on.
Yep.
Life has, you know, gone and hit us. Shit, man, we used to be working side by side at another hookah lounge when we were at Sahara days. You know, this guy would be back to back with me. We'd be making hookahs, shelling out coals. We'd have little Habibi Chris out there, just like burning coals.
rest
Oh
in peace.
man, the kid died.
Chris died
What?
last year.
Jeez, rest in peace. I did not know that. It's sad. The guy. That was a lot of fun memories. That was wild. We had a lot of fun times at that place. It was a good environment. Well, I mean,
No, Sahara Days was like the most horrid environment of all times. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was also the best.
yeah, we had a good time. I learned a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for, you know, that environment there, being able to teach me certain things or meet people like I have today in this environment before you. Shout out again to our sponsor,
Mocha Hookah.
Mocha Hookah, for the spot today. Habibi. I'm crying. You're done. Okay, so being in a hookah lounge for so long, in different environments, in different walks of life, and different people, what's one of the like commonalities that you've seen like throughout?
Commonalities?
Yeah. I'll take this if you're not doing it. Don't worry.
Commonalities. I think what some people, when they come in, what amazes me is how spread out, like, societal-wise, like how many different walks of life enjoy hookah and how big it is out all across the world. And growing up, you know, when I first started smoking hookah, when I first went to the first hookah lounge, I assumed it was only going to be, you know, Middle Easterns. But I was pleasantly surprised when I
To
saw
see all
every
his
walk of
white
life there.
boys. He was like, okay, I'm gonna mingle with you guys for the moment. Yeah, honestly, it was actually wild because I mean, Riyadh, we all know Riyadh from episode 1 Echoes, but that guy's like the whitest Arab that I know. And if they accept him, they can accept me with my beard.
Hey, look, dog. People just say I look like a terrorist.
I'm not gonna go there, but I mean, kind of.
But doesn't that make them the racist for judging me off my appearance?
I don't know really what the fine line is now in 2025 to where you can and cannot, or you should and should not, or you can make a joke about it and cannot.
Yeah,
I feel like
everyone- you know,
I feel like as far as this platform goes, we're okay to make some jokes about it, but we got to be careful not to go too far. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm having a chicken glava.
We could be like borderline,
Garlic sauce and the.
you know.
Oh, trust me. I would very much like to express a moment really quick with the viewers. I am so tame right now, just so you're aware, and it's for the sake of everyone that I'm being very calm right now. Normally I'm like buck wild crazy. I've been described as a crackhead,
Same,
but never doing crack.
same. Only one time, but by accident, kind of.
We don't talk about that. No, it's because growing up, I've had ADHD my whole life. So like,
Was that self-diagnosed by
no,
WebMD? Or
no,
was
I
that-
had a board licensed psychiatrist diagnose me, and I was taking Adderall for like 18 years because of it. So if you really think about it, we didn't go that far from you're possessed, so we do cocaine about it, like in the Western days. To nowadays, oh, you have problem concentration, do diet meth.
Yeah, 1 molecule away, I think. Adderall's like
Yeah.
1 molecule away or something for like meth. So yeah, I guess you can consider that diet meth.
It's the same. I think if I remember correctly, meth is the same. Adderall has the same chemical compound makeup as meth, minus antihistamines.
So your recovery
It's
time, and you might not lose your mind. That's the biggest thing. You might not lose your mind. Although doing all the shit that you're doing while on Adderall, you could lose your mind. I can only imagine because like,
I mean, you think about it. Look, my whole walk on life is do whatever the fuck you want, makes you happy. Just make sure whatever you're doing doesn't impede on other people's rights to do what they want or be happy.
yeah, there's a fine line.
Stay in your lane. You want to know how you could the best? If you want to travel around the world as an American, you know the best way to do it and not get fucked with. Stay in your own lane.
Go to all the white resorts.
The
All
problem,
the paid for resorts, right?
The problem with a lot of the problem is we have this built up animosity that was festering since the lockdown, which a lot of people, if you really notice, a lot of people just are not the same since then. And what do you think? What did people think was going to happen, forcing them inside their house for months on end, isolated?
Honestly, I feel like the ability to stop what you're doing, the hardest part about all of it is money. You have to go to work, you have to make money, you have to pay bills, you have to pay for food, you have to find a way to get, your essentials, your items, right? If money wasn't an option, imagine what it'd be like to, I know being locked in your house is probably not one of the best things, but it gives you the ability to actually stop and slow down. And to be like, okay, aside from, your work, your friends, and your normal like day-to-day routine, all that gets thrown out the door. You get to rebuild or like, completely, become a new person. And I feel like during that pandemic, can you say that? We're saying it anyway. During that lockdown, people were able to like maybe
There's
get
no
in
rules
touch.
against saying lockdown.
Yeah, I guess. I know. We're able to like really get in touch with themselves maybe a little bit more, or further away from themselves because they're like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I mean,
It's really how the individual took the lockdown personally, how they were able to handle it.
detrimental to their lives, or maybe even something that could have helped them and figure them out. I mean, for me, I just wasted a bunch of money.
Honestly, dog, I spent my whole life busting my ass working all the time. That I took it as a vacation.
Yeah, it was a great mini vacation. I just spent money that was free, wasn't even mine. And now we're in this hole. So we're slowly digging ourselves out of this hole, and eventually you guys will see more of that progress later in life. But for now, we are here in Mocha Hookah.
As long as we're better than we were yesterday, we're in the right track.
Just a percent better is, the overall goal. 1% better, even a 0.5% better. Something a little bit different. And the hardest part, I guess, would be just wanting it. Do you think we need no goals or different goals?
Definitely need new goals.
Well, I'll tell you what. Frank's gonna do a quick cold change, and I'll talk to you guys about some stuff.
He'll take it.
Oh, you think so?
I think he's gonna give us goals.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
not. If we want to take a little break, we can.
Oh, this will be interesting. Man, we don't take breaks for nobody.
Oh,
Man,
shit.
when's the last time besides like that point where you were able to like really slow down?
It really depends on the individual, if you think about it. Because, like, some people, they were already working remotely from home. That wasn't a new concept. A lot of people were doing that before the lockdown.
Yeah,
So that was nothing new to these people. I think what it is there's a lot of forces working to keep people divided instead of united.
Ooh. Interesting. How strong are those forces, you think?
Enough to make your death look like a suicide.
That seems pretty deep. That seems pretty big too.
Just for future reference, I am not suicidal
Anymore.
and I do not intend on killing myself at any point in my life.
But what a way that would be to go out.
I'm just kidding. No, if I had to go out, Kurt Cobaining it.
Longest shotgun known to man. That way I had to pull the trigger with my toe. So that way, like, I knew this was a done deal.
Like Courtney Love. Oh, what? Yeah, no, I'm Kurt Cobain. I'd Kurt Cobain myself. I'll listen to Rain My Breath. I'm the only one.
Yeah,
I just got sued.
You got to be able to have, like, you know, a prominent background before you do that, though.
Hey,
Be
think
like
about
loved, known, and at the top of your career, and then just like end it all.
this. Hey, question now. Now that Mickey Mouse is free domain, could we technically put him in this?
Oh, is he free domain now, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, you can put Mickey in anything.
Is that why they're coming out of that steamboat horror movie with like a retarded-looking Mickey Mouse?
Have not heard of that, have not seen of that, must now look that up. That is crazy, really?
Yes. In reference to all you younger viewers, Steamboat, the original Mickey Mouse was Steamboat Willie in like the very early 1900s, when, you know, Disney was actually alive. And he's definitely not in the Matterhorn in some frozen cryogenic freezer.
I think it's below Pirates, but yeah. Man, I would love to see that. Just the resurrection
Hey,
of
do you
like
think-
Walt Disney in
Hey,
like the next 80 years.
Do you think Walt Disney ever, like in his free time, drew like
lewd ass photos?
like fucking Mickey and Minnie just fucking? Someone had to. You're not gonna tell me. You're not gonna tell me. You're not gonna tell me.
Someone had to. but
Someone
I don't
had to
know.
have done it, or someone. I guess people weren't as fucking
There's no way.
degenerate as they were back then.
Yeah, I feel like someone would have gone through this fool's trash and been like, "Oh yeah, he's a fucking."
You don't have to.
freak.
You don't have to question it now. You just Google it and it's there. But
AI
yeah,
will
no.
do that for you. Actually, if you chat GPT that, you could probably get it started right now.
No, you have to pay for that. You have to pay for the premium.
You have to pay for chat GPT now.
Yeah, you've always had to. You can get the free version where it's limited on your responses, but you pay for the premium shit and it gives you all that shit. It's actually pretty good. For mobile devices, I think ChatGPT is actually, I think, the best of all of them.
That's so.
Don't
crazy.
quote me on that. I'm not a tech guy.
I have not even. I have not used like ChatGPT like whatsoever. Like not that I'm like against it or anything like that. I just haven't really like figured
Oh yeah,
out how
yeah.
to
I'm
utilize
totally
it
not against
into, like,
Skynet
anything.
taking over.
Oh man, I saw this video too about this guy talking about like how would AI take over, but AI would take over in a way that you wouldn't even understand that AI took over. It would just like slowly integrate itself into everything. But I just don't feel like AI would want to like wipe out the human race. I mean, if someone programmed it, like, you know,
If someone programmed a robot to protect the Earth, it would eradicate humans. 100%.
because yeah, well, that's why you can't put Earth. You have to put humans in the aspect, because if someone subtracts human and put Earth, then it's like humans are, you know, parasites of the Earth. Then it's like,
These are not the parasites. Red eyes, it turns red. You are.
yeah. So as long as they code correctly and put human, like, I think they're gonna be okay.
I don't think it matters.
You don't think so?
I don't think anything matters anymore. I think what people should strive for right now is build their family, make one if you want one. If you're the type that wants a family, do your best to make that happen. Follow your dreams. Don't be a piece of shit. And just, you know, I recommend people that used to be where I am, where I hated life, where I just couldn't find joy in anything, nothing. And that came right after, you know, when my mom died. She died like 4 years ago, so it wasn't that long ago. But it wasn't like, you know, like everyone's typical experience, like, you know, they're told, or, you know, hey, you know, the doctor calls, you need to come see her. It's her time. You know, we didn't get that grace. I remember it was December 3rd, 2001. December 3rd, 2001. She had talked to me that morning, and keep in mind, I stayed at home because she was older and had limited mobility. She was kind of crippled in a way, diabetic, and
I feel like
she
I
was
remember
not-
these times like a little bit.
she was not fit to be left alone, so someone had to stay with me. So I stayed, and I remember we talked. And she's like, "Wake me up in a couple hours. We'll go, and then take me to the store." And I'm like, "Okay, I got you." So she laid down. I was in my room. I remember I took a nap because I was just so tired. I was tired. I was doing yard work, whatever. I was doing the chores around the house, getting it all cleaned up. I was tired. I took a nap. I wake up. I start playing a game. And then my brother gets home, my older brother. And he's like, "Hey, don't you think it's time to get mom up? We gotta get her up so we go to her." I'm like, "All right." So we go check in on her. She was already gone. I had just talked to her earlier that day. She went, laid down, and she died. When I found her, rigor mortis had already took over. So her eyes were like half open, and it looked like she was like. So it was traumatizing, man. But I think what hurt more was knowing the fact that that's the room that my dad died, and that's exactly the way he died.
Sure.
He died of a heart attack. She died of a heart attack in her sleep.
Well, at least it was in her sleep for one.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
that's
two,
the
that's
most-
interesting too, how it was in like the same place. So maybe there was some nice spiritual connection for maybe her as well in passing through. I don't know. Again,
Yeah, honestly, bro, that was a really rough year because, like, so she died December. November, one of our dogs just killed over just randomly. Has seizure, just died on the floor. And then the month before that, my aunt died from terminal cancer. She was in hospice care. That was and then after that, I just felt
man, that's
isolated.
tough. You either bounce back or you let it kind of destroy you, especially when they're like prominent figures in your life. Like, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, again, knock on wood. Like my dad lost his dad when he was, I think, like 6 or 8, and kind of never really grew up with a father too. So it's like, it's definitely different the way we all kind of.
It kind of makes
have
me
our walks
irritated
of
sometimes
life.
when I hear people, especially when I was growing up, when I hear people arguing, "Oh, fuck my dad, fuck my mom, they didn't give me this, they gave me that." And it's like, and then I hear people like complaining, it's like, "Well, at least you had a good relationship with your father or your mother." It's like, dog, your parents are still alive. There's nothing stopping you from attempting to have a better relationship with people. Just remember, being mature and being wise isn't necessarily always being right. It's necessarily knowing that even though you are in the right, and even though you have every right to hate a person, making an honest effort to make situations for family, for those you do love better all around. Sometimes being the bigger person is the biggest shine of maturity and personal growth you can have.
Damn, that is real. I mean, those are great words to be spoken because every time I think about it, it's really tough to always choose that high road a lot of the times because then we also fight our own demons and our own battles, being able to, hold to ourselves and then not at the same time, I feel. So yeah, situational. I would say it's definitely easier for yourself to, go with the high road, let things go. Like don't hold on to hate, grudges. Like, tomorrow when you wake up is a brand new day. It's a new opportunity for anything, for a possibility of a brand new, a possibility of ending an old, and a possibility of, walking into something that you never even knew existed until, that day it happened to appear. So I don't know. Life is definitely about perspective and how you view it in your lens. And I feel like people around you give you that ability to maybe shape your perspective a little bit better, and sometimes worse.
I encourage anybody who has like a level of animosity towards like a person or a group of individuals,
Or
like
life.
people. If you harbor hatred for anybody or animosity for anybody, I strongly recommend you attempt to live in their realm, see things from their perspective. Because a lot of times we don't like somebody, but when we get to know why they are the way they are, you feel more bad for yourself for judging the way you do.
Yeah, it's really tough. You never know where people come from and what they go through. And I feel like knowing a little bit of Frank and what he's been through, it's pretty fun to see where he's at and kind of where he wants to go in his life. And knowing what he does know and everything that he's been through and then I've seen he's been through, you know, I feel like he's in a position to where he could take life by the horns at whatever point that he wants. It's just waiting for, I guess, cleaning up a lot of his past. I feel like, you know, you got to remember that the decisions that you do make will affect you later in the future. And as you say, you want that food truck, or you know, what is your overall dream or goal? Like, if you had no limitations, like, what would you do tomorrow? Given
Honestly, bro, I'm such a simple person. If at the end of my life I can look back and know that I at least made one person have a better outlook at my life, I feel like I've done enough. Obviously, that's definitely not enough for someone to do, but honestly, for me, it's never about what you physically leave behind. It's the legacy you leave behind.
real.
And a legacy isn't necessarily like, oh, my dad left me $50 million. He left me that much.
Yeah, my kid gets nothing.
It's a legacy could be, you know how like, you know, okay, you know, like your kid. Now imagine you do your very absolute best, and even though at the end when that kid's 18, you still feel like you didn't do enough. Now imagine how proud you can feel when your kid come to you and tell you, hey dad, I know you couldn't, I know I was a pain in the ass growing up because I couldn't have as much as the other kids or this and that, or things weren't always the best for me, or I didn't, you know, have it the way I wanted it, but I want you to know I now understand and appreciate what you did do. It's like the things like people gotta be, you gotta be a little easier on people. You gotta be less judgmental and understand that your experiences are never going to be the same exact with somebody else's experience. Even if you had identical twins, your experiences are going to be different. And that's the beautiful thing. You can look at life as this super negative thing all the time. But if you could pick yourself up from the ashes that you did and polish it, you can reveal that life's pressure turns you into a diamond.
Damn, those are good words. I love that. All right, so I gotta ask you, just like I ask everyone. So life gives you the opportunity of any job you want, any kind of pay. What do you do?
I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to own several businesses in different categories of business, different realms.
Where's your first pillar? What's the first pillar that you're gonna have? So my first pillar, I'm gonna have 5, right? So I want to have housing, I want to have automotive, I want to have clothing, I want to have entertainment, I want to have restaurant. So my first one is gonna be housing. So I'm gonna build a portfolio to be able to have enough money so then I can start to invest a little bit more into the other ones. Currently, right now, we're investing a little bit into the entertainment. Yeah, it's not skyrocketed, but we're here now giving a little bit of time what we can to try to build that foundation. And then for real estate, she's sitting. I already have some foundation built in restaurant because of what I did already. I have some built in automotive, what I currently do on my other YouTube channel. Check out GT_Mystique. I think it's dot now on Instagram. And then last but not least, clothing is just one of those things that I'm just gonna piggyback on after we've made it. You know what I'm saying? Because like everyone needs those kind of things. So what business would you like to start first?
Honestly, and I think it's due to having ADHD and having adult ADHD. I'm kind of what I'm doing right. What I like to do now, while I'm building up capital to be able to do these things, and because I don't intend on traditional means of doing it. Like I don't want to be taking out a bunch of loans and whatnot. I want to save some money so I can put a good chunk down and get myself put in a good situation.
Yeah.
So right now, just stack up, get my finish getting my credit where I want it to be, and then I can start
I've
aggressively.
been working on that. That hurts.
Then I can start aggressively going forward with my plans. My ultimate goal.
No, what I'm telling you is that you already have all that ready.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your first pillar?
Oh,
What do you
what
wanna
is
do?
the first? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously my first pillar, family. House and family. It's my first thing.
Okay, business-wise though.
Business-wise,
What's your first business? All right. All right. All right.
obviously not, most likely not here.
All right, I like that. But he says I want actually to own and operate a hookah lounge just as we sit in one today. I love that because in the future we might be sitting in your hookah lounge doing a separate interview.
I mean,
for
why
another
can't
time.
it be ours?
Last year,
I aspire for all of our homies to be able to sit at a table, smoking cigars, playing poker, while our businesses are making money for us. But instead of us turning into
I told Elvin,
the next world's version, the next generation's super rich elites, do it better than they did. And honestly, I appreciate them for being as corrupt as they are. Why? Because no. Hear me out for a second. Because it gives you every example of what not to do if you want to better everything.
That's literally
If you
history.
literally do everything that they're not doing, you will better society completely.
Literally history. Literally history.
And I majored in history, by the way. So the thing is, if you think things are more corrupt now than it was back then, it was never. The world has always been this evil, always been this corrupt, always been this violent. The only thing that's different is now it's instantaneous information.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You think if television wasn't around during the Roman Empire, if you think they had TVs, if you think they wouldn't constantly see news feed of the Franks or the Germans or the Vikings onslaughting Roman outposts near the end of the empire, they would be seeing that every day, just like we're seeing.
Yeah,
it'd
that's
be
actually
all
pretty
the world.
wild because instead I feel like they were more sheltered and they probably had no clue what was going on as a normal society.
The world has never, despite all the chaos right now, the world has never known.
I feel
an
like that
overall
puts you in
safer
two
time.
different places though too, because like with not knowing the information, you have your traders, your also like your barbers, but like you have the people that did their certain tasks, right? Their smelters or whatever the case may be, whatever jobs that they had, right? So they were able to go in and day out and focus up on doing that work and not really have to worry about anything and produce for that entirety of whatever their empire was, without getting the constant, oh man, tomorrow are we even going to be able to have crops because there's a slow marching empire coming our way or whatever. No, they had no freaking clue because I'm sure only like the higher ups had any information. So everyone nowadays is fearful of maybe even walking out the front door because there's a possibility of them just not being able to make it home. So I feel like in two different realms, it helps and hurts. Because imagine being able to like go through the day not really worrying about if and you're gonna get home, I guess, because they're all in a like separate single community where it wasn't something that they were like very much worried about. But every day, you have an opportunity to never come home. And there is news that gives you that thought. Like all of the shit going on. Just out before I walked out the front door, it's like there was a stabbing. Like I heard it in '99, and I'm like, oh sheesh, man. Like,
But like, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something from your own perspective. Why do you think? I have my own reasoning, but why do you think the news only shows you just the terrible things?
I mean,
Why do you think we're only hearing about all the bad things you never hear
it's
about the
always
good
like
things?
it's always like fear. I mean, they definitely put like some good things in there, but yeah, if you had to like really like go through it, don't worry about it. It's okay. He works here, so like, I think we're okay with like letting it be. But if he does it one more time, we're gonna have to cut his legs off.
The thing is, there's always going to be evil in the world.
Yes.
But what we're seeing less than, and yes, what we're seeing
So
less
that's why
of.
we have good vibes here, guys. Less evil. We can get evil if you guys want to, but for now we're having our good vibes.
The problem is there's always going to be an insane amount of evil in the world. But what we're seeing now is lesser and lesser good people. Fewer. And everyone's going to look at themselves, I'm a good person. But like, sure, maybe one aspect you're a good person, but like, I'll admit, for the longest time, I was a drug addict piece of shit that couldn't even remember what I was doing an hour ago at the time. But now, still at the time, I wasn't like killing people, or I didn't have a drive to kill, or.
So technically, you're not a bad person. You weren't doing anything good for yourself, and you know.
No, the fact of the matter is, no one is. There are very few people
Now
on
we
this
have to cut
planet.
his legs
Very,
off.
very few people on this planet that are born innately evil.
I'm getting hungry now. We might have to get some food from
Evil
literally
is-
the same area.
When a person is evil, they're raised to be evil, or forced to be evil. Very, very few people are born with just a desire to do terrible things to people. We call this psychopaths.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer, the people Dahmer.
Well, we almost went the entire time without being interrupted slightly, but it is what it is. This is what happens when not everyone knows what's going on. When we just decide to sit down and have a conversation
We
and
were
pull
just
together.
given a visual analogy of the chaotic world.
Yeah, pulling ourselves together to make this happen for you guys, because we care about you guys, and I care about you. So we're gonna try to do what we can to make this dream come true, Frank. One day at a time.
Look, at the end of the day, if I got a family that I can love and all my friends around me by the time I die, we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, I think I've bugged you guys enough. I'm glad you guys joined us on this beginning season 4, episode 1 of Shit Gigs and Topics. Frank, any closing statements
I got a few closing statements.
before our homeboy runs through us again? Maybe he won't, I don't know.
Listen to me carefully. I'm a simulation, this isn't real, I gotta go.